Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the Town of Webb September regular meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for coming. Please sign in at the attendance sheet. Please turn off any of your cell phones. The next regular meeting will be on October 10th at 7 p.m. Audit of claims meetings will be held on the first Monday, October 2nd, and the third Monday, October 16th, both beginning at 5:30 p.m. Executive session may occur this evening if deemed necessary. We have some correspondence from the Old Forge Fire Department. Could you please read that, Nancy?
Town Webb Supervisor Bonnie Baker and council members. On September 4th through 16th, 2023, the Old Forge Fire Department will be hosting their 56th annual Firefighters Drill School and are expecting a record number of firefighters. Recently, our town has received national recognition as one of the premier fire schools hosted by a small fire department. As in previous years, we are requesting the authority to block off a portion of Lamberton Street. The portion of Lamberton Street to be closed to traffic will be starting at the intersection of Fulton Street in a southerly direction to about perpendicular to the rear south side of the fire hall. That is approximately half the length of Lamberton Street. We have spoken with Jen Liss, owner-operator of the Forge Motel, and she has given her approval. The only request that she has is for vehicular traffic to be allowed from Park Ave intersection to the motel's office, which will be honored. This request is based on the need for safe pedestrian traffic from the fire hall during social hours and access to various fire vendors parked along Lamberton Street. We've spoken to Chief Johnson and Highway Superintendent Casey Crowfoot, both stating that this will be the safest way to provide safety for our participants. We thank you for your consideration of this request. Event Co-Chair John W. Graham.
Thank you. 207 Pullman Ave. The town board has considered the report from Andy Getty, Code Enforcement Officer, and tabled this at the August meeting. What's the pleasure of the board?
Well, let's make a motion to table it again one more time due to
Okay.
ongoing discussions, I guess.
All right, great.
Call it.
You don't have. You can just leave it on the table.
All right, we'll just leave it on the table. Thank you.
Yep.
I'll second it then.
No, we don't
We don't need
need
a
that.
resolution.
Oh, okay.
Or just leave it.
Notice of a public hearing for local law to consider proposed local law number blank of 2023, repealing and replacing chapter 400 of the town code and of the town of Webb. Whereas the town board finds it necessary to amend the current town of Webb solid waste local law, chapter 400 to the town code to ensure that the town's solid waste disposal rules and methods remain consistent with the mandates of the County of Herkimer and Oneida County Herkimer Solid Waste Management Authority. And whereas the town board wishes to ensure that the town's solid waste disposal facilities are available to the residents and the visitors of the town of Webb in a fair and predictable manner. And whereas proposed local law number blank of 2023, repealing and replacing chapter 400 of the town code of the town of Webb has been prepared, which would accomplish this. And whereas under New York State town law, no local law may be passed until a public hearing has been held. Now therefore be it resolved that the Webb Town Board shall meet and hold a public hearing at the Town Visitor Information Center, 3140 State Route 28, Old Forge, New York, at 7 p.m. on Tuesday, October 10th, 2023, to consider local law number blank of 2023, repealing and replacing chapter 400 of the town code and the town of Webb, to hear all interested persons, and at that time may take any other actions authorized by law concerning the proposed local law. And it be further resolved that the town board authorizes and directs the Webb town clerk to publish and post a notice of public hearing concerning the proposed local law in the manner provided by law. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
Second it.
Do we have any board discussion on this?
The law is available to people in Nancy's office now, or where do they get to access it?
Yep. I have it.
Can we do a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Councilman Greco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Baker?
Aye.
5 ayes.
On recommendation from Andy Getty, Codes Enforcement Officer, that the board appoint Nicole Ross to fulfill zoning clerk with benefits effective August 21st, 2023. Nicole will have a 6-month probation. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Any board discussion on that?
I stopped by the other day and she looks like she's settled in nicely and excited about learning the job, so it's great.
Thank you. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Councilman Greco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
I will recuse myself from the vote.
Supervisor Baker?
Aye.
4 ayes and 1 recused.
Budget meetings, the town board will be holding budget meetings on October 4th and 5th with department heads. Follow-up dates are October 11th, 12th, 17th, and 18th, and possibly the 19th. All meetings are open to the public. Lakefront Phase 2, like a motion to spend up to $15,000 with Holmes, King, and Calquist to create an overall site plan and finished perspective of the pavilion building on the lakefront. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Board discussion?
This is the continuation. Basically, we have a general plan approved and designed. This would cover rearranging the parking, creating all the official site plans that you need to have in place for the grants. As far as anything that's on the grass or any of the changing around of the stuff, it'll also give us a more detailed perspective on the actual pavilion space. So this is just the second step of it, and then when this is done, essentially we have a grant-ready package that we can go out after a lakefront revitalization grant with the state or any other grants. But honestly, the lakefront's already been assigned, which is difficult to get from the state and recognized as a grant project. We received money from that back when we did the navigation dock, way back when. So we're already in the state system, so that moves us up even one more notch further into the possibility of it. So, you know, at the end of this year, we should, or next year, when grant season comes in for July with the state, we should be able to put a nice package in to redo parking and the lakefront and the bandstand, and the regulating authorities coming later on this month too to talk about this side over here, because they are going to be redoing the dam in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll say. Not sure whenever that does come around, but they are going to work with us too, and it seems like with helping design how that would shape up over there on that side too. So those two things will come together. Seems like a good time. So, and we have the money in the budget. This was budgeted for this year, this amount.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call vote, please, Nancy.
Councilman Gardner?
Aye.
Councilman Greco?
Aye.
Councilwoman Green?
Aye.
Councilman Ross?
Aye.
Supervisor Baker?
Aye.
5 ayes.
Atlantic Testing Laboratories for the UV disinfection system. I need a motion to enter into a contract with Atlantic Testing Laboratories for the special inspections that are needed as per New York State building codes. These are needed anytime you have a significant structure or building. Special inspections are required on the concrete work, including rebar and the soils and foundation. BCA believes that $10,000 would be the upper limit that they would charge. BCA will coordinate with ATL and the contractor when they need to be on site for certain items. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Or discussion?
Yes.
Yes, I was just
That's why I giggled, because I knew you were doing
I
it.
knew we had to have a motion to have a discussion, so is this, I don't remember this being a part of anything.
Correct.
That's very correct. Corey
That is very correct.
just arrived.
So this is a $10,000 bang that we weren't prepared for.
But we
This is
can't-
something that
but
Corey
we have-
didn't bother to put into the specs when he was doing this entire program. If it says that it's needed anytime there's a significant structure, he should have known that.
If I may, it's the same company I used to inspect everything at the new bathrooms. When they poured
Yeah,
all
we've
the
used the
concrete
company
in.
before.
Yeah.
But I can't answer the Corey question.
But that was all included
It's
in
not a
his.
question really, it's a statement.
Yeah.
Disappointed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's correct.
That's, and obviously
Very
that's,
disappointing.
But my understanding of this is, we don't really have much choice
We
here,
don't have
do
a
we?
choice.
Because
No, they have
we'd
to-
have to do the state
Correct,
mandate
Andy?
and
You correct on that
I'm
one?
not sure
Or-
how it works on public buildings, but special inspections are definitely a section of the building code I have used in other scenarios where inspections are either too voluminous or too technical for a typical code office staff.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just ask the question, if we need to get more questions from Corey on this, is this gonna mess up anything in the process? Because we're still pretty far away from, I mean, like, if we don't approve this tonight, is that gonna put anything off or slow anything down right now, or?
I can't answer that.
The email said he needed it tonight, that's why it's on the agenda. And that's why it wasn't on the original, because I just got it at the 10th hour.
I can probably clear a little bit up. I mean, if you're pouring floors, they have to come up and test the soil that you're tamping underneath you before you can even start. So, yeah.
Thank you.
well, I agree that we can't stop this project. We've stopped it many a times.
I agree.
This, you know, coming up with the money is gonna be interesting. It already is interesting.
Can you go into the bottom?
Regardless.
I don't know how we're gonna get around it, if that's what you're.
Where's the money gonna come from a
Gonna have to
district that already is,
Well, we have to bond out 1.8 million, so 10,000 more, 1.810.
Yeah, it's gonna be borrowed.
Okay.
What's the contingency on
Thank you.
that project?
Do we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Gardner,
Aye.
Councilman Greco,
Aye.
Councilwoman Marine,
nay,
Councilman Ross,
All right.
Supervisor Baker,
Aye.
4 ayes and 1 nay.
Councilman Gardner, do you have anything for us this evening?
The mountain bike grant's finally approved. They started work, I believe, yesterday. There's 2 crews up there building the trails. They'll be in there until they can, essentially, and then they'll come back again next year. So that's good news. Everything was passed. The APA had no issues. The state already approved everything up there with the wetlands. The Adirondack League Club was nice to let us go across a little bit of their property just to access back into there. There's a logging trail that required us to park some vehicles on their land to cross over 30-40 feet, but they wrote us a nice letter and said no problem. So they're accessing it from the side, so if you do see vehicles up where they're normally not parked, that's just the trail crew guys. And the roof, the ticket booth roof at McCoy Mountain was fixed. It seems to be great. So that's done. Snowmobile trails, I talked to Chuck. You know, he had a lot of work to do out there with all the rain, the summer, and there was a lot of issues. He's got his part all cleaned up for the most part, more or less. He's feeling pretty good. On the logging land, they're getting there, so he feels pretty confident that everything should be ready to go for snowmobile season moving forwards. So that's all good news. And then master plan with McCauley Mountain, it's coming along good. We're just waiting for a few more numbers, but I'm assuming that we're probably going to have more of a formulated actual plan to hold in your hand here in the next month or two. for us to either choose to adopt or not adopt. But we'll have to adopt, recognize the plan in order for us to go for grant money on that too, with the state. And that is it.
Thank you. Tom?
I don't have much. There's a lot of moving parts and things that we're working on, and I'm just waiting on replies and see how things are going to work and stuff like that moving forward. So that's all I have.
That's great, thank you. Barb?
I missed my SHARP meeting this week, but I did send a follow-up to Rex and Holly regarding some questions that they had, some via email, some at their last meeting. So just so that the public knows, some things were done. A DPW guy came by and hung a light over a table for them where they play cards, fixing a sticky bathroom door, that kind of stuff. While I was there on Thursday, they told me that the bathroom's not being cleaned regularly, and we do have an agreement with the school, but whenever the school is not open, there is no cleaner that goes in to clean. So I asked Bonnie to have Rick Kipp's person go in once a week to vacuum up and clean the bathroom. The school is aware of this, and we're not going to change a contract just for a bathroom cleaning schedule, so we're just going to work together with them. I talked to Linda Grace about a coffee hour with the cops, and we're going to look at her schedule and plan them to find an opening for that. Holly had asked about the doors for the Hildebrandt Rec Center, and I just told her that they're on order, and when they're done, they'll install them, basically. That she was looking for a time frame.
He just emailed me back yesterday after Taz Communications and said they've been working, because we just put the door repair through.
Okay.
Like, what was that, last month?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he said that, they've worked together before, and he knows when it's their turn to come and do their part, each one of them. So they're just waiting on the door to come in, because we couldn't put that system in without fixing the door. So those doors are going to be all nice. I'd say probably, before it gets super, super busy down there, I'd say, hopefully by November.
Yeah, and I think she was just curious, so to report to the school board. I did talk to Steve Baker because she had asked about the AEDs that we have, and the one for the rec building is not in place yet, but they're going to put it on the outside of the building with a little roof over to protect it from the weather until winter, when it will get moved inside, because then the battery won't have to, we don't have to worry about the sensitivity of the batteries. Holly had also asked about the LED lamps on the pole lamps, that we changed out 3 of them, but there's still some that have not been changed. So maybe that's something we can talk about at budget time. Okay. And then I also made them aware of the Wattis Game Changer grant for the Magic Carpet Lift, just so that the school was aware of that happening.
Those are field lights, right? Soccer field?
Yes, the pole lamps. Yep. Yeah, just the LED bulbs is all. After we have the public hearing for the garbage law, there's labels and stickers that will have to be ordered. I had given everybody back in May 3 different quotes on those, and I'm hoping that we can go with my favorite, which is also the least costly, but this man from Norwich, MPI Label Systems, has been the only one who has followed up regularly, asking, how are we doing, what's the time frame, and so when it comes to that, I'd ask if we can have Nancy work with him for those, that product. And I don't know if you were going to talk about Don Hall's message. I don't want to step on your...
No, go ahead.
Okay.
I have it right here, go ahead.
All right, so Don Hall reached out to us today just to let us know that 2 mobile homes in the town of Webb have been applied for replacement. One is a 62 and one is a 72, so they're both old, dated, unsafe, etc. So he has applied for a grant for the 2 of them, which would be a total of $258,684 of home funds. That's through the New York State Homes and Community Renewal Plan. So fingers crossed. I guess an additional $30,000 will be leveraged from private funds to pay for a new well at one of the locations, because they have a 20-foot dug well doesn't live up to standards, and everything has to be up to code. So anyway, let's hope for the best on that. And that would be great to see those taken care of. And that's all.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Mike?
Yes, I just have one thing. I brought up at one of the last meetings about the railroad tracks going up through. And I finally got back a hold of Senator Mark Rolzik's office, or they called me back today. And I guess you can help me out with, I guess there's also a washout out there that is of concern. So I basically had a long conversation with him and said, yes, I have a concern for the Thompsons getting in and out of there, but I have, I think, even more concern about losing a snowmobile trail that we really shouldn't be losing for the winter. So all I got out of them is they're going to keep looking and helping.
Yes.
But,
I spoke to him today too.
That's all I got, but I'm going to keep pushing them because it's a major concern.
Yes, it is.
So that's all I got.
Thank you. I have two things. Our beach and camp program ended this year, very successful year. I want to thank all the lifeguards and the counselors for making it happen, keeping everybody safe. We didn't have any incidents. I think maybe a cut, that was it. That's a major deal with that many kids, that many weeks, and out on the beach, not an incident to be had. So that was really quite a blessing. Naomi Kelly called on October 4th at 4 o'clock. She'd like to do a blessing of the animals at the dog park. So I thought I'd announce that. I think that's a pretty neat little deal going on. Encourage everybody to attend.
What was it doing again?
October 4th at 4 o'clock. It'll be right after budget meetings.
We're getting done 3:30 so we can go. What's the end?
PBA negotiations went on today. It'll be one of many meetings from how I'm seeing it. We have our next meeting on September 28th. I'll give you more updates as soon as we have something in writing that we've actually come to an agreement with. Right now it's just everybody's wish list. That's all I have, Nancy.
Winter garbage schedule. We are going on winter garbage schedule. Monday, September 18th. It'll be on paper online to see if your days have changed, because there's not many changes. The transfer station is still on winter hours, or summer hours, excuse me, until October 11th, and then we're going to go to Wednesdays and Sundays only. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much. We're going to go to the members of assembly now. Please state your name for the record. Yes.
I'm Linda Wheel. You mentioned the budget hearings and the dates, but I didn't hear a time, like a time of day.
Time to be determined. The 4th and the 5th are 8:30, and I'm assuming the other days are 8:30, but we haven't solidified them yet.
Thank you.
All day.
Yeah, all day.
Anyone else?
Just would like to thank the Fulton Chain Lakes Property Owners Association. They gave the town a check for $5,000 in support of the dye testing program. Very much appreciated.
Thank you. That's very nice. Anyone else have anything?
David Winslow. The garbage schedule there, I was taking some material up to the transfer station on Sunday, and the schedule didn't match up with what was advertised in the paper. I said 8 to 4 in the paper, but it was 8 to 12, 1 to 4. It was a little bit of inconvenience, but
I thought it was advertised 8 to 12, 1 to 4. Sorry. I'll look.
Yeah, and just
yeah, it used to be. That's why I'm.
Just double check your October date there, close time. So I thought it was the 9th in the paper. But
9th is Monday, so the new will be open on that day, and then the 11th is Wednesday. That'll start the winter hours. So that Wednesday will be open 8 to noon.
Thank you. Anyone else?
But I will check, David.
On to brag. I made a list of things while you're all talking here. I'm going to try to go fast. Killington Mountain in Vermont is where I first mountain biked about 30 years ago. From the top, went into the woods, thought I was going to die. It's got to be one of the biggest mountain bike parks in the United States, one of the top 2 or 3. they are on the internet, has come to Killington and watch what we have. I think everybody who's involved in what's going on at Macaulay should take a look at that, because they've been doing this for 35 years up there, and they're fantastic at it. We may be able to get some ideas for us to, we're probably number 2 in the East right now. Thank you, Kurt. It's really beautiful up there, and I know people all over the country that I've worked with in the bicycle industry who know about Macaulay, and from Colorado, you name it. They say, boy, that's good up there, isn't it?
I'll just say, but if you don't mind saying something, the one big difference between Killington and what we are, Killington does the chairlift. They're also like full commitment. I mean, those trails, you're launching off wooden ramps that you're 60 feet in the air. We don't want that.
We don't have to do that, but
that's a big difference. It's like a whole other level.
It's extreme.
What they have,
It's amazing what they have.
and we can get,
We could
build
still
on
market
what
it.
their success has been for 37 years.
Thank you.
Second, is there a plot plan for what the proposal is for the pavilion at the waterfront?
A plot plan? No, that's what would be coming from this next one, but there is a plan that I can show you of the pavilion itself, the structure.
Are the tennis courts going to remain down there?
No, it'd be where the tennis courts are. Yeah,
what?
It would be where the tennis courts are.
I'm sorry.
They would be taken out.
They would be taken.
Yeah.
Have we found a way to move at least one court in town?
There's conversations.
Okay.
So
Keep it up.
yeah.
Third, Beth Pashley's camp up by Woods Lake or wherever it is on the way to Beaver River. She's posted on Facebook in the last week pictures of the railroad tracks that are washed out up there.
Yeah,
There's about a
Just past her
30-foot
place.
distance between the bottom of the steel and the bottom of the tracks. It's a big job. Big job. But that's where, if you want to see a picture of what that is.
So you know that train's not going up there.
Huh?
The train's not going up there.
No.
All that money they put into it.
That's not the only one. I mean, there's it's like that going all the way up to Tupper. There's multiple sections that are washed out completely.
I'm sure that's what I hear as a former rail bike employee there. But that's just from my friends on the grapevine. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Dave Bergstresser. Was the request to block Lamberton Street for the fire school for this year or next year?
We just got the letter for this year.
Okay, because you realize fire school is this weekend. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we got the letter after the last
It's
meeting.
here.
It's why it's late. We got the letter late.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyone else? Do I have a motion to pay the audited claims?
So moved.
Monday? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Sure.
Kurt, second.
Second.
Barb, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank everyone for coming very much.
Thank you much.